Yo, guess what? We got another one of these episodes because apparently people like them. I like them. He likes them. So, yeah, might as well just get more done. And if there's more people, we'll get even more done. Look at that, we get shit going. Might actually be like a YouTuber or something. Who knows? Anyway, yo, how you doing?
Well, hello there. I'm doing
Fancy meeting
wonderful
you.
right now, so... Yeah, you too.
So, as we're gonna ease into it, tell me a little bit about yourself. And damn.
Oh? Well, my name is Oxarck. I am a French dude that lives near Paris. I'm 28 years old. Yeah, that's about it, mostly.
So how long have you been on VR chat?
I've been on VR chat since March 2019. I tried to calculate, might be a few months ago. I was actually curious. Fun fact, you cannot know this by yourself if you want to program this. VR chat doesn't show that on purpose.
Huh.
I don't know why.
I
So you
thought
have
I
to run
could
out the
find that.
numbers and stuff.
So you just gotta go back
I
in
don't
memory?
know.
I thought I saw my
Well-
signing first time or something somewhere.
I don't remember. I used like an app that helped me doing this. I don't remember which one. I had to recollect from Discord messages from old friends and shit like that. It was difficult to find. I
I mean,
grinded
I
the
may-
VR chat a bit, but I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
them
that
to
should be
smite me,
easy.
so...
You should be easy. You check your profile. That's the date that it started. There you go. It's not that hard.
I know, but
Uh.
sometimes it doesn't do as it's told, so whatever.
It's whatever. Well, speaking of beginnings, how did you start on VR chat? Did you go get on desktop, laptop?
So yes, at first I wanted to... At the time, well, VR chat was something fairly new, even though it was 2 years old. I discovered it a few months, like at the beginning of the year of 2019, seeing like videos of, you know, those dead memes, Uganda Knuckles, Yeti, and stuff like that. So I wanted to explore the thing because it was like, that's new. Let's explore. So I began first in desktop and progressed my way onto buying myself a headset, which was a HTC Vive at first. And
Let's go.
a few months after that, I grabbed the trackers and yeah, I was settled.
Nice. Are you still on the Vive, or you go to the super famous
No, it
index?
gave out, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Now I'm using
figured.
Valve Index, which, believe it or not, I do like it, but it's beginning to weigh on me. Or the fact that there's so many difficulties with it. The knuckles, mostly. It's
And those are
pain.
expensive. And those are so expensive.
Oh yeah, those are
Yeah.
my fourth pair.
Yikes.
Thanks guarantees, because yes, that's too much.
Yeah. I've been fixing my Vive controllers with pieces of paper for free. That's just keeping me going. I can't even imagine like going
I still have one controller to pass through the DMA because I feel like it's DMA or RMA. I don't remember basically I asked support for a new one. They asked me to send it. I had to have those ones, thanks from a friend that graciously gifted them to me. Thank you, Yuki. And basically, yeah. Now I'm just waiting for them to send me the other one.
Quite the hassle, just for hands. Just for hands. It's all we want.
I mean, I don't want to roast them because they're fairly good guys, but hey, if they had better material,
I mean,
wouldn't
everybody's
have
got
much
some
problem.
kind of grief with their whatever headset or controllers they're using. Like all these companies got some snag somewhere along the way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what got you into VR chat at first? The Uganda Knuckles?
No, not really. It's mostly seeing people having fun and just seeing all that much interactivity, which the only time I've seen that much interactivity was with Gmod RP, which even that was a little bit finicky. I used to have one or two servers, not me being the owner, but like an admin or something, just role-playing as World War II games or just Half-Life slash what was the game? Wolfenstein RPs. And yeah, I had a fair share of those.
So you've been alright. I see the dots connecting now. That's cool. So I'm guessing you are a gamer. You've been playing games like on there and then role playing in these games after.
Well, yes, kind of. I used to have when I was a kid. I had like lots of consoles and stuff. It was fairly recently that I began my PC setup.
So you were on consoles. You were what? Talk me through it. Like I started on the N64. Well, the SNES, but really N64. And...
Well, for me, it was my PlayStation 1. The first game.
Nice.
Well, intuitively, my two first games that I know that it was my two first because I don't know which one I began first was Disney Interactive, Tarzan, and Hercules.
I remember Tarzan. I absolutely remember Tarzan. I don't know why, because I never owned that game, but I remember playing it so much.
But yeah, after that, well, came the PlayStation 2, and so far so on. Really, the list is non-exhaustive.
I bet, but if you had to give me like one game out of, on any console, like on the PS1, one game, on the PS2, one game, like, your favorite.
Which game? My favorite? Wow.
Because,
there is a lot of them.
Ah, dude, I know. Sometimes it's hard to pick. Or at least the one you think you played the most.
That's a tough one too. Well, PC-wise, that would be this one, of course, but the one that I played the most before would be Gmod, because it was one of the most ones. But no. Which favorites? Honestly, I don't know. One that we could potentially result in me with my character, Zaburo, now that I think about it, would be a PlayStation 1 game where I don't really recall the name completely, but it was something along the lines of Tai-Fu, which is basically a tiger doing kung fu.
Okay.
And now I just realized subconsciously that this might have been my inspiration for the character. Subconsciously, because at this moment I haven't realized that. Yeah.
You just said the name and I was like, okay, I get where that's going.
This is just now that I realized it, and I'm like, what? It all connects. Uh, but
Oh
yeah,
man.
it was in the PlayStation 1. Those were like Hercules, Tarzan, Typhoon, and maybe Street Fighter 4 EX plus Alpha. Yeah, it's a very long
Man.
ass
I
name.
mean, I don't know, man. Back
It
on
was one of
the
the
N64 and the
first
PlayStation,
3D
that would.
games.
Oh shit, you're right. I forgot. Like the
Hmm.
PS1 and the N64 were like, well, and the Sega, I guess, were all like the first 3Ds. Everything was just fucking sprites before. Shit. Nah, you're giving me nostalgia. Okay, so let's move on before I golly all over.
That's basically how I feel sometimes. I'm an old timer, even when it comes to taste
Ah,
in
man.
multiple things.
I found a game world on VR chat that is a remake of an N64 game, and I made it my home world just because holy shit. And I'm like, oh, it's so fun, man, I should buy this game again. Fuck. Anyway, I
This
should.
is also why I like VR chat so much. You can basically see everything. It's I assume that a lot of people said it to you, but it's already like Ready Player One kind of shit. That is like,
Mm-hmm.
heck, we are. You're an android, I'm a tiger, sitting in a coffee shop. Like,
I
no
know,
other games can do that.
it's so crazy, man. It's like,
Right.
oh man, you know what? Great transition though. How long you been role playing? Cause Wolfenstein, that's old. Like that's at least 20 years away.
I mean, I'm not talking about the very old Wolfenstein. I just came around with the Wolfenstein RP for just, like, it was just a turn of circumstances. No, I began role-playing actively back in high school. Because at the time I didn't really understood what was D&D and stuff. And back in the day I was, like, you know, a nerd, and at the time for me, school was not really a nice place for
Fun.
those,
Mm.
for nerds and freaks and whatever. I used to
Yeah.
be bullied and stuff. And my few friends that I can count with a palm of my hand basically said, "Hey, would you like to play role play games with us?" And I'm like, "You mean like, you know, MMORPGs, stuff like this?" No, thank you. No, it is not MMORPGs. It's not even a video game. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Well, let me show you. And this is how I basically stumbled upon D&D, role-playing games, and so far so on. My first campaign, actually, it was my first campaign, and it lasted for like years. It was
Nice.
at the time, it was the beginning of the trending of Assassin's Creed. So Assassin's
Okay.
Creed 2 was no wait. It was at the beginning of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and at the time I showed this to my DM, say, "Hey, look at this! This game is fucking awesome!" And he's like, "You don't know what you unleashed." And so we began a mix-up between a role-play game called Anima Beyond Fantasy and Assassin's Creed, a crossover. We had all the
Okay.
elements of Assassin's Creed into the lore of that game. And basically we had like a party of assassins trying to defend the world against Inquisitors and Templars and stuff like that. It was so good because the game, even though it was not D&D, had a few things related to it, but was more flexible. Or at least the DM made it more flexible for our first campaign to see how we could react and stuff. And so, this was truly awesome. And I really wanted to begin doing more stuff with roleplay, LARP, stuff like that. I even had like a costume and stuff. Unfortunately, where I am, there's not a lot of LARPs going around. So I thought, me being not much of a social person and just don't want to do stuff alone, yeah, that resulted in not doing much. I do cosplays and stuff, but that's mostly it. And then I realized VR chat was a place where you can be mostly nobody, like everybody and anyone, and being anywhere. And I was like, oh, cool, let's have a go at it. And
so you essentially joined VR chat to roleplay. I'm not the only one doing this.
Just exploring at first. Just exploring at
Okay.
first. See what's going on. Then I heard that there was roleplays and stuff. I was like, yeah, sure. Let's do this. And I began my VR roleplay adventure with a server called the Outcast of Silver.
Okay. Never even heard of it. Never even heard of it.
Well, it's a closed.
I mean, I'm not
VR,
all-knowing either.
It's a closed server from the metaverse, but it's still running nowadays.
Damn. That's cool though. Like old servers that are still running after so long and just going through changes and shit. I find that fucking cool. Like, who's to know how long VR chat's gonna run? And let's say it still runs for like 10, 15 years, and you go, oh yeah, we've been role-playing for 15 years, and we've started here, and this is the history, and oh my god. I'd love that.
Yeah, this is gonna be so... this is gonna be weird at some point.
Man, that's a fucking cool story though. Nice. That's cool. Well, you mentioned D&D, so I'm guessing like you've tried a few different like systems, like Shadow. Wait,
Well,
what is
yes.
it? Shadowrun and whatnot. You have a favorite?
I do not know all of the terms because basically what we did with my DM and I and my other players is mostly do homebrews and mostly sometimes just predetermined missions and stuff to really begin like how to play a game, but we didn't really do more than just the actual campaign that we did with Assassin's Creed. So far I've played D&D, of course. There was one called Myth of Cthulhu or Call of Cthulhu, which is the horror Lovecraftian one. There's another one called... The names are escaping me. There's one that is Cyberpunk, which is the one that is inspired the Cyberpunk 2077.
So you said Cyberpunk 2020, 2013, 2023. You got the newer Cyberpunk Red now. Like, yeah, I know the Cyberpunk
Yeah.
shit. Would you believe me?
I only did like just missions and so far so on, like little campaigns to introduce the game that were inside of the packs. But other than that, only doing the missions and campaigns. Right now, I'm doing another campaign with the same people. That is not related to the other one, but still.
Do you have a favorite system so far, since you've been trying a bunch?
Well, I do like the Anima Beyond Fantasy one, although I'm not sure if it was the same one as the DM made. But that homebrew that we did was awesome. Basically, it was you roll a percentile dice, and if you roll between 91 and 100, you can re-roll to add more percentage. And we had so much fun because whenever we did that, that means you were doing something fucking cool, like badass kind of thing. And the way that the DM explained it was epic as fuck. And
Nice.
one of the climax of the campaign was we had a player that had to basically his character was destined to die. There was something crashing down on him, and basically the DM said, for jokes, if you succeed in making that many points, which means multiple opening rolls, that means from between 91 to 100 every I don't know how many times you can succeed and survive. And that motherfucker did it. He
Wow.
did. At least I don't know how many times he rolled, but he did succeeded that point of doing that many rolls. And it was like surreal, and we were like hyped as fuck. You see the reactions of people like overreacting for just a little dumbest shit? We were that.
Nice. Dude.
That was,
Dude,
this game made us like, that basically made me what I am now. Just
nice.
doing
That's...
those roles and just imagining our characters doing those things. I never knew, because the DM, when he described the role playing, I imagined it as a like video game. So he said, yes, and you can interact like this, or you can even talk to this like that. And what video game is this? I want to play this. And it's not a video game, it's an actual thing, and everything it's in the mind. And I was like, what?
Oh my god, a world of opportunities!
Yeah, that is basically it. Roleplay game is basically multiple things, multiple possibilities, like infinite ways
tabletop
to
is just so
do
cool.
shit. Yeah, which I do believe that unfortunately the close-minded folks don't understand that. Like, of course, if people saw the history of D&D and stuff, people thought it was a cult or something satanic. And
I know.
Who is dumb enough to think that, honestly?
I mean,
But,
everything that's got anything that's got any kind of reputation will have people going against it just because. It's like, but yeah, I get your point. It's dumb.
Fairly dumb, but yeah.
So anyway, how many characters do you think you've made, like, overall, in general, in your life? Like, not necessarily ones that you put on a piece of paper or something, like.
Yeah, and the ones that you create just for fun?
Yeah.
I would say at least 20 characters, even though most of them are just in the dump right now. But yeah, mostly.
It's a good number. It's a good number. And what's your favorite kind of character to make?
Around those lines. Well, that is a good question. The ones that I enjoyed the most making them was the ones that you have your character, and then, well, if something has to happen, you need to know you need to have someone that he can trust into, or a family. So you have to choose or create this family. For my first character, for the D&D Assassin's Creed, I had to make an uncle, an aunt. I didn't have parents, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that route. And yeah, then afterwards there was his descendants and stuff like that after the campaign ended. Just in case we had to redo another one.
Making the whole 3 for generations coming down.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, that's cool. For me, the family side of things is always an afterthought. For me, it's like, how did you get here? How did you get to this point specifically? I want to know everything behind that. Afterwards, fuck it. Like, the people relate to it? Nah, it's
Yeah.
just shadows, X, Y, and Z names. We don't...
Exactly.
uh, oh yeah, and which one of these, of any of your characters, the one you're the most proud of?
Well, the most I'm most proud of now would be the one that has the same appearance as my character, as my avatar right now, Sabudo, which basically is the most intricate one that I've made so far.
Alright, we'll get to him in a bit. I'm gonna do a little excursion on the server side of things, and then we're gonna talk about Saburo.
Sure.
Um, just for fun, how many servers, roleplay related, do you think you're in?
Right now, on the D&D wise, I'm in one because it's my old group. I don't really go and do D&D stuff with other people than them, unless it's specific. Other than that, I have a non-exhaustive list of metaverse roleplays because that's the norm with the metaverse roleplay.
Yeah, you
so
get
many
into
of them
one, it just
that
keeps going.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really go to them most nowadays because I do feel like it's too complex and like too big sometimes.
See,
I can go on with that a little later, but yeah, I'm trying to focus on centered servers for the moment, depending of the character that I'm using.
yeah, no, I so get that. Anyway, are you a DM in any of them?
No, I don't feel I have the way to how do you say that? Describe. Unlike Solus, who knows how to describe stuff, how to lead stuff, I don't have that same kind of energy, honestly.
I mean,
I'm the recluded one.
yeah, but there's something to say about the calm ones. They make different kind of stuff. It doesn't always have to be like grandiose and just like, wha-bam, and then this happened, and boom. Like, you can make your own stuff little, like, nicely. Like, I'm not trying to force it down, but honestly, I think you could make
I
it.
used to try to do DM stuff in D&D. The thing is that, stress-wise, we always see a D&D as, yeah, the players doing shit and so far, but you also have to give credit to the DM who basically
Makes
mastermind everything on the background, and that I'm very thankful. But I don't feel I would be able to do that, because even in the metaverse, if you are a co-DM or something, you need to be synced with the actual DM to be able to know what to say to the players, because VR-LARP wise, the DM cannot be around. Like, if you're with a multiple people and someone wants the DM to be around, and then just after that someone on the other side of the map needs some information, it's fairly difficult for one person, but it's also difficult for multiple ones because you need to know exactly what the DM knows. And for sometimes it's fairly difficult to communicate if you don't have Discord or some things like that. So
communication is always
I try
like
my
the
best
hardest
if
thing.
I ever have to do DM things, if I have to roll some dices and stuff. It's fairly simple, but lore-wise, you need to study what the DM knows and what the DM wants to happen.
Do you have a favorite server, favorite community you're part of? And what makes that one like stand out from the other ones?
Well, of course, the Frostbite Forge is the ones that I am admin in with, joining with Solus. It's a little baby, although it's more his than mine, but you know, we try to do our best with what we can. I also have guild history in my aim for the moment, because seeing like the guild's history is having like trying to grow and work around. Um, it's reminiscent of the Outcast of Silver, which by the way I left
Hmm.
not too long ago, but that's another story. It's kind of the same route that is going on right now. So
You,
yeah, I want to be part of that thing as more of a elder with my Sauro and being a blacksmith there.
I mean, you do fit the elder role pretty good, like the big brother vibe, you know. You got that one going
Indeed.
to the T.
Well, when it
It,
comes to the character itself,
well, I mean, you yourself, you give that vibe off too. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's what, you know.
well, yeah, difficult to say. Mostly, you know, everyone has its own persona in VR, and mostly in any kind of how do you say that? Any kind of media slash internet. I try my best to help everyone that I can, and
Mm-hmm.
I want people to just say of me that I'm kind and just, hey, this guy is cool.
I mean, as far as I'm
I want to
concerned,
be someone.
you're like, you're all of those things. So, you know, good vibes.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I'm trying my
Ah,
best to not make anyone uncomfortable and just go with the flow.
is there something you wish some servers would do? Like some good ideas you found somewhere and you're like, why is no one else doing this? This should be the norm.
Well, there's a few times that I feel like, um, when it comes to missions and stuff, whenever some people need assistance and we begin to get around to a certain place to prep up out of character, I would believe it would be nice to have them uh, characters to be in line and specify what type of damage they can do, what type of weapons they have, and everything like that, showing off what the character can do to the NPCs, and same as well to the NPCs they can, unless
Hmm.
it's spoilers and stuff, to be able to interpret those actions correctly. I see multiple servers that whenever it comes to firearms or laser tech or whatever, um, most of the time NPCs don't react to it fair. Sometimes they're too busy fighting off someone melee-wise, but it's always difficult to interpret something that comes quick towards us.
Hmm.
Bullets, lasers, magic, whatever. It's very
Hmm.
difficult to act and interact with those kinds of things. So it's difficult. Again, I say that multiple times. It's difficult. It's difficult.
I mean, not everything is easy. You know, there are difficult things in role playing. And like, we're
Yeah.
putting a sweat when it's combat. I mean, you know as much
Oh
as I do.
yes.
Whenever someone's just fighting, you hear them breathing heavily. It's like, holy shit, I'm so lazy. I'm just doing gunplay. It's like, fuck it. I'm not fighting you with a. I'm not doing this
Yes,
for five
exactly.
minutes.
Like I have another character that you mostly uses like firearms, and that is the thing. When it comes to melee combat, It's fairly cool because the fact that they can react to blocking, attacking, dodging, so forth and so forth, that is cool. The problem with weapons is that, yes, you act, but like there's not that kind of impact,
Yeah.
and you don't have that much satisfaction when it comes to that because you cannot. There's a lot of factors coming into play
Yeah.
to see if someone sees the shot, if the if the shot is fired on their end, particles, bugs, whatever. It's too
Hmm.
difficult to really base it onto that, and with that, unfortunately, we cannot do much.
Yeah. And like you can't have like the cool sword thing where you just like whip out and just whip out. With the gun, it's just next. What do you want
Yeah,
more to do?
which in LARP, real life LARP is fairly frowned upon if you have a like an
Long range.
airsoft kind of long
Yeah.
range. Bows and arrows are easier because they're basically big balls of foam up to a stick that is mostly more visible. But being
Mm-hmm.
able to see like a nerve dart, that is something else. Um,
Yeah.
if you want to play something like that, just play it on airsoft. But yeah, it's more difficult in VR because for some people, people cannot feel and or see it. So
Yeah,
you
I
don't
have the
have the
same
same
problem.
impact.
I have that exact problem with, well, this one, Suki. Well, all my characters all have the same thing because they all shoot from afar because I'm too lazy to do manual
Yeah.
combat. And I see it and I'm just like, okay, okay, I get it. It's my fault. All right, I'm gonna keep shooting in the void, I guess.
Yeah, and that I feel it is difficult for lots of people. I don't know how people can stay most of the times in shooting at a distance whenever it doesn't really matter, unfortunately for them.
Well, the it, the way I see it, right, is you're only shooting if you're going to be support. If you're staying in the back and the point is that the enemies are not coming at you, it doesn't matter if you're shooting at someone or if you're just shooting in the general direction. You're just shooting that way, so it means the enemy doesn't want to come your way. So it makes it more more useful that way to just waste ammo in
I
the
see.
general direction. It's still not the most compelling. Like, of course, I'm watching everybody with swords and shit and shielding and kicking, and I'm like, yeah, this looks interesting. But I can hear you pant from over there. I'm fine. I'm just gonna do my little crouch and pew pew.
Well, I mean, that is fair. Like sometimes when I do combat, I don't want to stand up myself, so I basically just stand sitting, and basically since I'm not using my other half of the body, basically I just do my moves.
Hmm.
Of course, it's more difficult to fight like that, but sometimes you just want to just hit. That is it. Just
You want
like
combat, but you want comfort.
sometimes, if my back doesn't hurt,
Hmm.
that is also
Yeah,
true.
yeah, I get. That's precisely why I got guns. uh, well, anyway, speaking of combats and all of that, you were talking about Saburo, and Saburo gets a fair share of combat. So tell me a little bit about him. Where'd that go? How'd that start? Floor is
Oof,
yours.
where to begin? So, Saburo was a character that was supposed to actually be a D&D character, which actually wasn't supposed to be a white tiger. It was supposed to be a normal samurai
Okay.
kind of fellow. Yeah, when I found out that, first of all, when I began with Outcast of Silver, the idea was to have a dwarf instead, Balgrum, the thing that is one of those characters that became mostly an NPC rather than an actual uh, like playable character.
Hmm.
At some point, I really wanted to do something with that samurai vibe, and I said, I'm not finding any models in VR chat that looks convincing enough to be a samurai, for me at least. When I talk samurai is, fairly
The layered
aggressive
shoulder
face.
pads and the sword and yeah.
Exactly. And I was tweaking some stuff with playing Soul Calibur when I used to uh, make my characters back when they were human, making them with the customizable character system that Soul Calibur had.
Hmm.
And I figured out, this looks nice. Let me just do that. And so, since I didn't found any convincing male models, I thought, wait, I have I saw a model of a tiger that looks fairly nice, which at the time I didn't had my white tiger just yet. I had like something fairly new to that. It was
Hmm.
a still human one. And I was like, well, why don't I give it a shot? I asked someone to commission me a tiger, white tiger, which has like a kimono, akama, and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
that's how Saburo was created, trying to perform for something that was not available. And this happened. Now his story, um, from the point of the metaverse, is a very long one. It
Is
is
there anything in the
basically,
metaverse that's not long and complicated?
well, the way I see it is that my character comes from another campaign and another server, and basically got transported to the metaverse, similar to Solus, but with extra steps.
Alright.
Um, that's basically it. Basically, my character lived a life, fulfilling life. Um, if I want to try to say it in a few words, samurai tiger transported through time 150 years to another era, which, like I said, I would need to explain it completely from the beginning to the end, and that's too long for this for this interview. Let's just bold it like this. He is a samurai tiger who traveled through time to save the world. Let's just say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
After his campaign, him and Solus lived a happy life and died peacefully at old age, and rest eternally for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years actually, to then perceive um, something familiar from the metaverse, which he appeared in front of Solus from the metaverse.
Hmm.
Then they managed to find him a somewhat of a robot body. So basically, at the time when I began with the metaverse as Saburo, he was supposed to be some kind of Terminator with a
Okay.
soul, making it. And then we began the process of reincarnation, which this is it.
Nice.
So basically, he reincarnated himself young again, but with his mentality of and wiseness that he had plenty.
Hmm. So that means I met you not too long into the whole Sabro and the metaverse thing.
Metaverse. Exactly.
Huh. I got almost to the beginning. I thought I was like way beyond. Like I was like, oh man, there's
Well,
a whole lot of shit that I missed.
technically it is, because technically your character hasn't met the other life that Saburo had, which basically is
That's
fantasy
true.
like elder of the village that him and Solus was, and basically lived to train and to basically govern upon their own Biskin village. You didn't have to see that, although now you are mostly seeing mostly of the same. Solus making the Biskin race rise again and just trying to survive. Just Saburo, instead of before being a leader figure, he is now mostly at the back seat because he had his life, he's just into another life now, but now just want to see his brother
Rise and shine.
like rise and shine, because yeah, on the other campaign at the Outcast of Silver, Saburo used to be of the two at least, the leader, saying, yeah, let's do this, let's do it like that, and stuff. And now, he gives the lead to Solus.
So how long has Saburo existed? Like from the beginning of the concept? It probably changed face and probably changed body, but Saburo as a whole is probably... No?
Not quite. If you remember, I had like the same kind of white tiger avatar. This was the original phase.
Okay.
When it was created as roleplay wise. Of course, in the concept art, it was supposed to be only a human. But other than that, mostly there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 3 types of appearances. It's concept human one, it's old version, which is the older avatar that I had, and this is the one, the last one.
So Saburo's only been existing for like roughly a year and a half, 2 years, because that's about the same age as Silky.
Mostly, we can consider at least 3 years.
And what would you say Saburo's goal is like nowadays? Because obviously, new life, new things, just sitting in the back, but probably have something that he wants.
Well, like me, I'm also trying to find a purpose in life, and him too. Saburo and I do have the same kind of mentality of saying, yes, I see people grow, I also grow. Let life continue flowing, and if you don't do something, you might just end up not doing anything and just exist
sit on
without
your ass
existing.
And regret.
Exactly. And so, for the moment, is dwindling on what to do. Saburo is beginning to have like somewhat of a romantic side at this point too, and because on the basically Saburo used to be raised as a warrior, and so the family side, except from the brotherhood side and romantically side, got shut off from his brain. He was indoctrinated because at the time, back in the old days, demons were attacking and invading, so the only thing that was necessary is to fight, survive, fight, and not die. And if you have to die, may it be in battle, to honor. And so, yeah, its whole thing about raising a family just basically got out of his head. Of course, he had Solus, and Solus thrived at matter, but on his old life, Saburo was more of a hermit, mostly single all his life, but still enjoying life as it is.
So now it's
Because he
relearning
never
all
knew that something
this.
was an option. And now that he got reincarnated, being able to relax, because sure, there might be some conflicts, but not as big as the war, and just, live and just enjoy life as it should be, is still a bit of a conflict with him.
Alright. And if level 100 is like maximum level, where do you put Saburo in there? Like, what level do you give him?
So, I would say around those lines of maybe 75 to 85%. Knowing that he had lots of experience, he had lots of battles, lots of experience, Soul is helping him when it comes to power, with their armor and basically weapons, and also the fact that he gave them a serum to basically heal himself automatically makes him mostly surhuman, like overpowered.
Yeah, he's a tough
And
cookie.
indeed, but it's not as tough as Soul is now, him being a demigod. But that's what he wants also to thrive into. Maybe not be a demigod, but being equal to Solus, because it's always been like that with him. Unfortunately, because of his phase of being a robot, he couldn't do that because he had a limit. He was blocked. This is why he wanted to reincarnate himself, to be able to evolve and grow in power, which soon enough might be something that he can achieve.
So that's the big plan for Saburo. Like, just keep going with Solace and keep rising up and like equally in power.
Exactly. To Saburo, Solus is basically, well, he is his brother, of course, and he is equal. He can, like, to Saburo, Solus can be a pain sometimes, of course, because he can be. They are brothers, even though before they were supposed to be brothers of arms, but they became actual blood-related brothers. But yeah, they are linked and bound to each other. Some people would say that's bromance, but
Hey, yeah.
I mean, technically.
Well, because you took some of Solace's blood for the reincarnation, and that made what's the biggest change to Saburo that you did not plan for? Like something that just kind of happened and you were like, fuck it, if no one notices, I'm rolling with that.
For Saburo that didn't happen, that really happened for him, is the idea of, in the old server, in the Outcast server, he had to make a choice as a leader of the guild, because he was in the higher ranks at some point, but unfortunately nor the superior nor the second rank nor the third rank was around, and it was a tough choice to make. So at some point, reflecting, to Saburo was like, oh shit, what do I do? Oh fuck. And that basically make him realize that even though he is good at fighting, even though he is good to give orders to one person, he might not be a good leader. And that pondered to him for a long time, until he tried to let go of it. Other than that, like, lots of things of Saburo's state can be related a bit of me, because sometimes my doubts and my anxiety takes over me, and sometimes that reflects on the character, which I do believe a lot of people do that unconsciously sometimes.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that
it's
is
impossible to split, like, you from the character at all times. At
exactly.
least as far as I know.
And I had a phase back in Blackstone, like leadership, if you remember. I had this phase where I had a big time of depression, and that was reflected on Sabra too. And unfortunately, that is something that I would love to retcon but now that it's done, I cannot change because it's something that I'm not proud of.
Yeah, well, you know, it can't always be what we want it to be.
Yep. If not, we would be like somewhere else. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. But I do have one thing that,
It's
if you have
understandable.
something that you want game masters to know as a player that played throughout places, is there one thing that you wish game masters would know? Like a message that you want to send their way?
On my personal note, DMs need to know their players more than they have to, just to be able to know what the objectives of the players and their characters are. Of course, a lot of DMs do, Solas does, and mostly people on the VR-LARP does. Mostly because over on the tabletop D&D, I used to have like lots of like campaigns and stuff. Unfortunately, my characters never had the possibility to shine, and sometimes like never developing history arcs and stuff. And that's what I'm a bit frustrated about, is that lots of people have their time to shine, and tabletop wise, not my characters. And that happened to me. Maybe it was bad luck, but I really wish that um, DMs understand and make sure that every character and every player feels um,
Included.
understood and included, even if it's just a slight wink at some stuff related to it.
Who is Saburo to my character Silky?
Well, Silky, like literally is Silky is the adopted daughter of Solus. Therefore, for Saburo, Saburo is their uncle. Of course, Saburo as a whole knew how to raise children and try always to be kind to them. Of course, for Saburo, he also is important for him to know how to defend himself. Though, of course, it might be a bit strict when it comes to training and stuff, but it's for the good of everyone that is being taught by him. So, Saburo is very kind when it comes to other things than training, but if that is on the subject, he can be quite strict. Not rude, but strict.
And he's definitely a trainer for Suki, because he's got her doing like all sorts of mostly martial arts and like melee weapon train. Like the guns are on Solace, everything else is on Saburo.
Exactly. I mean, on the old days, he was a dojo master, so of course he had to teach these things to Silky. Silky has a rough time with that, but Saburo wants to be sure that whenever Silky runs out of ammo or when the circumstances happen, Saburo wants Silky to survive in encounters that calls for quarters, melee, and so forth and so on, because we never know what can happen.
Mm.
But on the other side, Silky also is beginning to be more stronger when it comes to power, almost or even equally as powered as Saburo now. So that's also one thing. At some point he doesn't have more to teach to, but at this point Saburo and Silky can train together and not only Saburo training Silky.
She's growing,
Which
like
is
she's getting there.
exactly. That's a good turn of events.
See, because Saburo's got a life, he's doing like things here and there. Solid's got a life, he's doing things in there. Silky's got fuck all to do, so she's spending all of her time training. It's like,
Exactly.
it's gotta
Plus
show
with
at
the
some point.
mutation that she did, or she had, now is even stronger and beginning to surpass Saburo when it comes to power, which out of character frustrates me because I want things to evolve for my character. But for Saburo, it's gratifying to see that its efforts in training Silky's paying off.
Yeah, I mean, I was not planning on her to get anywhere near this strength.
I will never be too salty for someone.
I get that, because personally, I never looked for Silky to be anywhere close to strong. My goal for Silky was, you're gonna be a scared little shit that everybody's gonna protect in the far back, and you stay there. And it's like, oh, this happened, and this happened, and this, and this. It's like, alright, well, fuck it, alright, and this, and this. It's like, okay.
There's a lot of... yeah.
Most of her life has been going off of my rails. I've planned fuck all of what happened except the transformation.
Yeah.
How did Saburo and Suki meet? I glanced over it really quickly in my introduction video, but like, your perspective is more than welcome.
The truth is, as a character, as a player, I don't quite recall it anymore. I think it was a circumstance of Solace presenting me to Silky, and at the time,
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then for me, for Saburo, it would be part of the family, part of the crew, some kind of thing like that. So Solace's family is mine. Welcome to the family.
If I recall, I believe it was the first day that I joined at Blackstone, and on the first day at Blackstone, there was a golem attack or a demon attack. There was an invasion of some kind, and Sola's like, "Hey, meet your uncle." It's like, "Oh, right, cool, yeah, I guess there's an uncle," and it's like full wave of attack, and then you see the two of them just go and kill shit. It's like, all right, I have an uncle. Cool, good to know.
Right. Yeah. I don't quite recall it, but now that you say it like that, yeah, that would be mostly it. If something attacks cities or family, he would already be drawing his sword and just going onto the pile.
Yeah, I remember being there in my little spider avatar, and it was like, hey, there's an invasion. Suki just going like, nope, fuck that shit, but just keeping an eye out the corner. It's like, what's gonna happen? And you just have Saburo already walking away, and Saul's just like, we're gonna take care of this. Give me us like a little moment. It just pulls their guns out and just goes away. It's like, Jesus Christ, these guys are serious.
Yeah. Hope you're glad that you're not on the other side.
Oh yeah, immediately at that moment, it was seal deal for Silky. Holy shit, these guys I'm not messing with.
Exactly.
Do you, does Silky impact Saburo in any way?
Well, of course. Sometimes, well, now more recently, we have another character, which is an AI Silky, which is very beautiful and very helpful when it comes to helping each other. And when it comes to normal Silky, Silky is mostly innocent when it comes to stuff, and having a second like point of view when it comes to ideas and stuff like that, it's always a good thing, because Saburo has always had like one point of view most of the time, and it would be Solus. And seeing other point of view being perhaps more innocent or more simple can give him, yes, I never thought of it like that. Interesting.
Like, hey, there's something happening over there. Cool, we're not going that way. We're gonna go the complete opposite way. Like, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Well, when it comes to that, yes, that sometimes can be like, no, like, that can be an idea, but it's also good to see Silky as
Fragile?
That's what I was talking. Well, yes, because Saburo is always someone that wants to protect people. So every time that he sees that, like, a character is not paying too much attention to their surroundings and something is sneaking from behind, he is always going to try to block or interrupt that enemy or that person to just be always on someone's back. And that account, Silky's.
And did Silky ever made either you or Saburo like emotional, angry, sad, pissed off, just like genuinely disappointed? Because I make a lot of very stupid shit with this character.
For Saburo, it wouldn't be good to say disappointment, because he's understanding when it comes to training and stuff like that. But when it comes to when Silky turned over to against Solus and her family, he was like disappointed, but not on Silky, but on the fact that this happened. She felt powerless, so she turned against them. So for him, in a way, he is disappointed in himself not being the one to help her better.
Yeah, that whole
when it comes
that
to
whole bit was
children,
rough.
Saburo is fairly understanding. Of course, when it comes to, annoy or just tease or just toy around, he'll be, okay, that's enough. And sometimes he would say, well, when you cannot beat them, join them. And so that's where the gremlin act happens, when, for example, Solus just begins to be just an annoyance, and Silky joins in. Okay.
They have a fun
So that's
family
what
time.
we're going to do now. Yes.
Well, that's about all the questions that I had. If you want to add something, you're more than free to do it. And if you want to say something to anybody, camera's right in that corner over there.
To everyone that sees this video, join us on the Frostbite Forge. We need people. Please.
I'm gonna put the link in like the description. Why not? I might as well do it. It's an
Please come,
opportunity
don't be
like any
shy.
other.
We don't bite. Or at least
Just-
not much.
Yeah, just a little bit. Alright, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me like go on this, make more like... It's very appreciated. I hope you had a great time. I'm having a great time all the time. I love doing this. I'm learning a lot by so many people.
Very thankful that you invited me here. I
Of
really
course.
appreciated you listening to my little story, and Well,
Oh,
hope to for your series of interviews being as
well, look at you. You managed to get to the end of the video. Or did you skip? You better not. Anyway, you watched the whole video, so might as well subscribe while you're here. There's gonna be more like that, I promise. Maybe. I don't know. I don't care. Do what you want.